Hello everybody, welcome again to the another one Hero Talks podcast. My name is Bart.
My name's Adam.
And today we are gonna work about motivation.
We're speaking today, it's a broad topic, motivation, but we're speaking about motivational speakers, what it takes to be motivated, just motivation basically, and the ins and outs of what's needed, why it's important, and how we use it in our daily lives and things like this. So I'll ask Bart some questions and we'll see what happens basically. So regarding motivation, do you think hard work pays off? Do you think hard work pays off, or can easy work pay off? And think about it. So is it good to work hard, or is it good to work smart, easy?
Depends what we are exactly. Generally depends what you are doing, but I will personally prefer work smart, not hard. But I also want to connect working smart with working hard.
Yeah.
Because if you are working smart and working hard in the same time, you will have huge results.
Yeah, and do you think it takes a lot of discipline?
For sure.
So what aspects of discipline are needed? Do you need a plan? When we relate it to motivated working environments, or when you need to be motivated to work hard, discipline's important, like you said, but how can you be disciplined? How can you be disciplined?
That's the question for the individual, I would say.
Individual.
But for me, disciplines, sport helped me a lot with disciplines.
Okay, so how does that work? So sport, does that link in with your discipline?
Yeah.
How?
Because it triggered me to wake up, for example, every day and go to the gym.
Okay.
And if you are not disciplined enough, you won't manage it. But you can learn to be disciplined by start something and just doing it.
So you can transfer what you learn and what it takes to do stuff in the sporting world to your work life.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So I'm similar to that. So I do this and I do that, but I also do this and I do work, and I think it ties in together and gives you a good work ethic. So you have to work hard to get results in sport. You have to work hard to get things that you want in life.
Yeah, but as you mentioned before, it's nice to have a specific plan for something.
Yeah.
Because you want to achieve something and you don't know what exactly when you achieve, you wouldn't achieve it.
Yeah, you need a plan.
Exactly.
And the same with working out again. It's a step-by-step plan, and they usually tend to be the most best. They operate the best. So another question I've got is, so we've talked about discipline and hard work and smart work, just very briefly. Determination. So that's another core, I would say, element of being motivated is determination. Mm-hmm. It's different than being structured. What can you say about being determined? How does that work with you? Do you have to, really go for it to get what you need?
Or is it the best is just compete with somebody?
Yeah, determination. Yeah, so measure yourself with other people. So compare yourself, what do you mean, to somebody who's higher than you, and think, how did they get there and how do I get past them? How do I get higher than them? Yeah, so you can be determined so other people can make you determined, basically.
Yeah, and when you want to start something, just see how other people are working with these things and just follow at the beginning.
And what do you think about being capable of anything? So when you're a child, when you're grown up, you're not afraid of anything. Everything's all done for you, would say. Even your shoes get tied with your mum and dad and people. But should you still feel not afraid of failing as an adult?
You should fail a lot when you are adult.
Okay, so tell me more about this then.
So, if you are starting new thing, you will be bad with it. That's for sure. And don't afraid to just fail. But you need to just keep going with the stuff that you started.
I think when you compare it back to sport again, they say you win or you lose.
Yeah.
But what we used to talk about in boxing and obviously combat sports is you either win or you learn. You don't lose. So you learn why you lost and how to come back better from it. And sometimes a loss is actually what you need.
Exactly.
Makes you feel better.
Everybody who achieves something big failed a lot of.
Yeah, if you look at any big CEOs of major companies, they tend to fall a lot more than they win. Yeah. But the wins are really big. But it's because they've put into practice what they learned in the past and how to implement it in the future.
Yeah, but we as the observers like normal people, we are seeing just the final result, like the success, not the background.
Yeah. So if I was to read a couple of these statements out to you, and we'll see what you think about them. So I like doing this with Bart. So it's a bit of this series of this podcast today is a little bit of a flipped lesson. So rather than it being more of an open chat, we're kind of having like a discussional talk led by me. Bart's answering questions. So it's just a different format to start with, basically. So, and if you don't understand the words, we can talk about them. So, don't let the gibberish, doubt, or fear drown out the voice in your inner wisdom. So, don't let the gibberish of doubt and fear drown out the voice of your inner wisdom.
I don't understand.
So that's a big statement. That's a big statement. That's a big statement. So basically, don't let your negative self-talk drown out your inner wisdom, because sometimes you know you can do something, but you'll get the good and the bad, the God and the devil saying, go on, you can do it. You know you can do it. Have the confidence in yourself. Then you have this guy on the right going, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. I don't know why you're doing it. You're not going to make it. So don't let that side drown out the good side. It's trying to say self-talk is very important. Do you know anything about self-talk? So
I mean, we as a people always thinking in the wrong way, I would say. If we want to start something, we are seeing it in the worst way that it is possible instead of the best way.
Yeah.
And we are adding a story to it, and it started to become like complicated for our minds. And then we are, after this, we are not starting.
You can overcomplicate something to the point where it doesn't become started. But I think with your job, like when we're talking about developing websites and we're developing a platform in general, Bart says to me a lot, he says, we'll publish something and we can build it whilst we're building it. We can improve it whilst we're building it. But I'm of the old mindset where I just want to produce something finished and leave it. But the modern mindset is to build it as you go. But that's my negative self-talk. Yeah. That's your modern view with programming, software and everything, software engineering, to think we can put something on the table, then we can improve it. But at least something's on the table. So it's a bit like when people start their goals, I can't do it. So they don't start, but you're better doing nothing than... You're better doing something than nothing, sorry. Do you understand what I mean? So you've done something then, you can improve on that.
I would say that
it ties
it's mostly my personal way of thinking.
Yeah.
Not
just do something and make it better.
Yeah.
But don't do nothing.
Make something live, then make it better. Because when you will want to do something perfect, which is kind of the impossible, because everything has problems, laptops, phones, everything, cars, they are not perfect. No. And you are starting with something, then you can get some feedback from the people, or you after some time you will see that you can manage something in better way. Or
it gets passed around and improved and molded and smoothed out, and eventually it's like an agile process. Eventually it becomes a nice perfected object.
Exactly. But it is also information for other people that you are still working on something. So when you did something,
you're current, you're contemporary, you're doing something.
I can give one interesting example regarding this one, because I met a guy whose hobby was photographing.
Okay.
And I asked him, why you don't start your photograph company or do some pictures for the Instagram for people, because he was really good with it with the iPhone. I mean, I have the phone, he had the same kind of the phone, and I couldn't make photos as he did. And I asked him, why you don't start doing, and his answer was because he need to have like 20k camera to do some better stuff. And I said to him, this is the perfect one, and I could pay for it. I could pay for you for it.
Just
for
start something, basically.
And a lot of people have really good skills, but they are afraid of the first feedback or something.
Very similar to this podcast.
But
we're starting and we're developing. So in a couple of episodes, different this.
Yeah, this podcast, we will keep going like right now. I think that in 50 episodes it will be like perfect.
We're always building, and the shorts, the things. So the next one. So I'll tell you the words as well if you're unsure of the words. So always aim for impeccable, not just good enough. So always aim for impeccable, not just good enough. Impeccable means nothing short of perfect. So it was impeccable. So if a footballer scores a goal, he's run all the way from one side of the pitch to this. He's run across all the defenders, all the players, and he scores the perfect goal, like a Ronaldo-style goal. It's impeccable. It was an impeccable performance. So always aim for impeccable, not just good enough. What do you think about that?
That's totally true.
Because some people say, it's not perfect, I'll come back to it, but they never do.
Yeah.
So at least they started and did something, but they don't have any interest to make it perfect.
Exactly.
Impeccable. So what do you think about that? Do you think you should always aim for this,
You should aim, but that shouldn't be like starting point to be the best when you are starting something.
Yeah. One of the motivational speakers' books that I've been reading, like in the past couple of years, he's called Les Brown. I don't know if you've heard of Les Brown.
Yeah, and one point here. You read some motivation book?
Sometimes.
Yeah. And do you know personally this guy?
Sometimes, yeah. I'm quite well read on those. So, like Robert Greene, Les Brown. So I don't just follow like your Instagrammers type of people who don't live that life.
And the question for you, who you need to be to start writing motivation book for others?
How do you get that? It's usually if you Google or you go into the history, they have quite an interesting personal journey. So someone like Les Brown, fantastic motivational speaker, coming from school, dyslexic, unable to speak, classed as slow. That's what they class
exactly.
as.
And their
now he's
task
a
was
mega
to lose something.
He lost so much.
And then at the end they wrote a book about their lose, and they become perfect because they wrote what they did wrong.
Yes.
In the past.
So it all ties in all this basically. So you have to lose to win. It's like part of life. When you fall down, you've got to get back up again. So a bit like Rocky in the film when he says it's not how hard you punch, it's how hard you get hit and get back up. It's like part of one of his stupid things. No, Les Brown said one of his biggest quotes is aim for the stars. Even if you miss, you'll end up like higher than you would have been if you never took that aim. So you need to aim really high. If you don't have high expectations, you don't aim high, you're never going to get there basically. So it's important to do that, you know what I mean, to aim as high as possible. Okay, so moving on. Still part of the flipped, not lesson, but like the flip podcast, you would say. So let me think about how I want to say this to you. So when people do motivational speaking, especially like on Instagram and things and social media platforms, it's part of like a hypnotic speech pattern, if you understand what I mean. So why is that? Why is that so popular? And does it actually work? Or is it like when we were talking about the Muay Thai, is it like just following a pattern because it's just what people do? It's not actually because it works. So why do people follow these videos with the regurgitated AI narrative and they don't actually work,
why they are watching it? First question.
It's like this hypnotic pacing to it.
I think because people are like to hear positive things.
It's like an affirmation. It's like when you go to church and you pray, everybody prays in the same speed. These videos are very similar.
Yeah, but let's think about how will you feel if you will watch the videos in opposite topic. Like in somebody will talking about something depressive all the time. You will feel depressed. And I think that's the same way how it works with the motivation video.
Like programming.
Yeah.
You're kind of programming. And that's the best way that people think is to get the message across. Just, the computerized voice with the video backing it up, like people failing, people winning. And they have those videos, like 30-second videos. It's a bit strange. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit as well, what ties into this is tribalism. Have you heard of tribalism before? In like a social setting, like a social...
No.
What do you think it could mean? So like tribalism.
Tribalism?
Yeah. Related to social media, motivational speaking and tribalism. What is a tribe? So what is a tribe? Tribalism. What do you think it could mean?
Tribalism.
It's a name given to a specific group of people. Mm-hmm. So, like, people who are into rock music, they'd be part of, like, a rock culture tribalism. Mm-hmm. So they'll all be into rock and they'll go to rock concerts. Whereas I'm part of the fitness tribalism crew. So my life revolves around teaching and fitness. I'm like a fitness freak, you would say, similar to Bart, basically. But Bart's life is also technology as well. So you're part of, like, the techies. So that's your tribalism. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, do you think those kind of videos on social media with the hypnosis speech, there is like a tribalism behind all that? Do you know what I mean? Like, does it apply to certain people more than others?
I think that yes.
Because for instance, my father, if he watched one of those videos, he'd just turn it off.
I mean,
whereas some people are just glued to them.
In the society, there is thousands of the groups of the people.
Yeah.
So there are people who are like sports. There are people who are like technology, self-development. Yeah. I don't know, flowers, gardens, cars, everything you can find. And if you are like something, you just watch. You are watching content like this, and that's it.
No, it's interesting. And coming back to what Bart said before, it's like how people become a motivational speaker. They like lose in life. They have an interesting story. This is only some of them, and then they become really rich and famous because they tell the story, basically. But I think they do a lot more than that. Like, if you follow like Les Brown and authors like Robert Greene, they do a lot more than that.
I also read one sentence from the psychology books. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the name of the book. That people are like watching the people which of the stories they are afraid of.
Okay.
So they said it correctly.
They like learning about. For example, what people fail doing, but they're scared to fail themselves.
Yeah, so for example, you are the speaker and you are saying that you did this, and I'm afraid of the things that you did, and that's why I like hearing you.
You just have an interest in hearing about them. But even though you might never try them yourself,
probably
you think, well, he failed, so I'll probably fail as well. But it's interesting to read about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Well, I suppose you can read lots of things like that. But just going back to what Bart said, what does it take to be a motivational speaker? What does it take to be a motivational speaker? So give me some words like, do you need to be determined? Do you need, what does it take? So how did you become the motivational? Let's say we followed the path you say they follow. So they failed in life a little bit. They had a lot of setbacks and now they made it. So what top 3 skills will he or she have gained to become a motivational speaker?
First thing first, that person should have some story to talk about.
Okay.
So
you need something interesting to say.
You need to do something in your life to speak about it.
Okay.
I don't think that 15 years old guy can be motivational speaker.
That's true. But I once saw a video online, and it was only a little short online, but it was, you would say, food for thought. So it was food for thought. It was just a reel, like we're making little reels. We're making reels at the moment, which we'll be publishing very shortly, by the way. So if I'm talking like this. And it was just a little short reel. And there was a 15, 16-year-old Indian guy. And he was arguing with like 30-year-old American girl. And they were arguing on the podcast. And he said, name 3 books. He said, name 3 books. And she couldn't name 3 books. And he could name, probably, he said, I've read over 1,000 books. I can name every single one of them. So who's more intelligent, who's got more life experience? So he's read 100 or 1,000 books from people like Jordan Peterson, Robert Greene. He might have read a great deal of information. So he's read their information of the 50 or 60-year-old people that read it, who had a lot of information to write that book. Now he's got that information. So does he have experience? Yes. But he's half her age. So I don't believe that. I think if you've got something important to say, age doesn't matter.
Yeah, but okay, so that was maybe bad example.
That's just my counter argument to it. That's all.
Which is kind of the good because so not the age is like main metric here. Just the thing what you did.
It's the thing.
Because
that
you are right that sometimes people who are 20s could do more in life than people in 40s.
They're really smart. They're really smart. But you can get like a Bitcoin millionaire whose mum and dad gave them $1,000. They put it all into Bitcoin. They're multimillionaires. That didn't make them smart. It just made them lucky. Some of them. But then you can get people who are like book reading champions, and they're super intelligent people, and they're only kids. It's got high IQ.
It can be like a kid or somebody who is young, but that person need to have like background.
The background. So that's one of the metrics now.
Yeah.
So that's background. So something in their background of note, of interesting. What else would make a good motivation?
For example, when somebody is like motivation fitness speaker, I expecting from this person to have to have a sports background.
Okay.
So at least, for example, 3 years every day in gym.
So there's a saying with that. So you would say, like, you would want to do as they have done.
Yeah.
So not just do as they say.
Yes.
So do you understand what I mean? So like, do as I say, not as I do. You need to be able to think, like David Goggins, for example, you think he's actually run 250 miles once.
Yeah.
He's an ex-Navy SEAL. He's done this, he's done that. You think, if he said it's possible, it's probably possible. So because he has experience doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it's someone who's never trained, then you can't.
Imagine the guy who is eating some pizza, he's weighed like 200 kilos, and he's saying that sport is really good.
Yeah,
he was 3 months ago one time in gym.
I definitely know the type. I definitely know that type.
Yeah, I could be sport motivation speaker because, for example, in last year I was every day in the gym. So that's kind of the discipline, not too much.
But you have experience in that field. And what would you say your final thing is? The final thing to throw into the mixer? So experiential knowledge, you would say. Experiential knowledge of whatever it is. You've kind of been there, done it, bought the t-shirt. So then you can give advice on this. Because usually experiential knowledge is the best knowledge. Life experience, you can't buy that, unfortunately. Yeah. You can be as rich as you want, but you can't buy life experience. So determination. What else would you say makes a good motivational speaker? So being there,
they should have also charisma.
Charisma. So being able to make people listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's a very important factor. Again, that's why I don't understand why the monotone, computer AI generated, emotive, motivational speeches on Instagram are so popular. I don't know algorithm they follow.
Are hitting really particular topics.
Yeah, it's strange because
that's why probably
they're really boring. They have no substance behind them. They have usually quite strange music on in the background. They have some strange images and some monotone AI speech, and it's like I'd prefer to listen to I prefer to listen to this or a motivational speaker than one of those videos.
Yeah,
something real.
I mean, AI have no emotion.
But do you not think people connect nowadays a little bit more with no emotions? We're living in a non-emotional... This is going to be another podcast, but we're heading towards a different topic almost here. It's kind of like people can connect to that because there is no emotion there. So should there be like a limit on what we can view? This is just another topic a little bit, but should there be restrictions on what people can say to other people almost? Because they could be selling a bad message and people will be listening to it because it's something they want to hear.
Yeah, I see, but...
Do you understand what I mean?
Depends, because...
Imagine if you're a serial killer and now we're making memes about serial killing all the time. You'd sign up to it if you were a serial killer. You'd think, if you were Dexter or someone, you're a serial killer, you'd think, this is great. I'm part of this tribalism. I'm going to listen to this video a lot more. It really feeds my ego. And then you go out and you kill someone. So like unmotivated people watch these videos, but I'm not sure that they're getting the best message sometimes. There's no emotion there.
I mean, yes, it is, but in a cinema, for example, when you're going to watch some film need to be emotional in some ways.
True.
So I can imagine go to the cinema and watch film without any emotions.
Yeah, true.
Because
you wouldn't have any connection to it.
Yeah, exactly. Because we as a people, when somebody is happy, we are also happy, unconsciously. When somebody is sad, we also...
or don't. Yeah, exactly. No, it's interesting. So today was a little bit of a flipped podcast. So I was doing a lot of the talking, a lot of the asking, and Bart was trying to catch up and answer some questions as well. Difficult podcast. I didn't give him any prior warning of this topic. We've just sort of hit the ground running with this one.
Yeah, we are doing live on the stage.
We're doing live on the stage, exactly. And sometimes it's good to test Bart's English. It tests my adaptability, and it makes it a little bit more interesting for everybody. So I think we can wrap that one up there.
Yeah, we can finish it right here.
Yeah.
And I want to mention that Adam has his own English school. I'm also his student. He's preparing me to the FC exam, which I really recommend. He has also a couple of free slots, so feel free to contact with him.
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn with the adamsenglishschool.com, Instagram. So there'll soon be shorts and videos loaded up. And enjoy watching the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for listening and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.